want to save any money
Well,
and help them at the same time.
well, at the end of the day, though, just, so everybody's clear, we did save the money that we were looking to do, but we did it in a different fashion than it was done easily with the prescription drug program. The net savings that we would have accomplished from all three things, including putting in the higher deductible plan, was accomplished.
Because of rate freeze last year, or what
No,
happened?
no, because they changed prescription drug copays. And, you know, that was easier for them, I guess, to comprehend and sell to their membership than a high deductible health plan. You know, if you look at that, I'd say out of 25 towns, if we have a handful of people who chose that plan, that's it. You know,
Okay.
and it's just, you know, it's a big step for them. I believe they understood it, but they didn't want to go for it. It was just too scary because, you know, the potential for them out of pocket, even though the borough was willing to make it up, we were putting in a lot of money towards it. You
Well,
know,
one of the things that we didn't do is we didn't give them an even amount in all 3 years. Because our train of thought was that we wanted to try to get them to start becoming a little more accountable for their own health and having that motivation to kind of take better care of themselves. That was one thing. And the other objection that they had was what happens if, that's all great and everything, but what happens if come at the end of the 3 years? What if we don't get elected again, or what if we're not in council and the new council comes in and says, no, we're not giving you any money? We're not giving you any of it, then they're stuck with a big deductible.
Yeah.
And I think both of those things could have been overcome, like, for me, as far as I'm concerned, as long as we have that annual savings per employee, and I know what you're saying, we want to try to get them into that way of thinking where they start becoming more accountable for their own health. But at the end of the day, you know, the borough wants to try to save the money, and if we have to give them all the money, all the total deductible amount, I was not against that. Give them the total deductible amount every year. I would have done that, because we still had to save it.
Well, you see, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work though, over the long run. We could have made it level, but it had to go for 3 years and phase its way out. The thing with the high deductible plan, if you don't, a good portion of the savings for the plan comes in the way of change of behavior. If you fund that total amount, people don't change their behavior,
Yeah.
and you don't get the savings. So eventually, that's gonna shoot back up, and the savings that's priced in initially is not gonna be there.
I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I do, but, you know,
So, you know, but there are other things, you know, we can certainly look at it and fine tune however you wanna do it to try to make it, but it's, you know, it was interesting, and I think it was an interesting concept about putting it in, and as we were decreasing the contributions, their savings was remaining level because they were jumping into higher tiers, if you remember, too.
Right.
So, again, we could have done it either way, but, you know, in order for the savings to really materialize, it's gotta be phased out.
Because only on the assumption that they might just go back to their regular routine.
They definitely will, because you're basically
No risk.
funding it, and more, with a high deductible plan, more than half the savings is generated by a change in behavior. Because now they're gonna treat it as their own money rather than yours.
Mr. Mayor, I know you were talking about putting some thoughts together, or a group together for looking at the contracts from all aspects. Maybe this is its own animal again, you know, taking this piece out of that, looking at other things, because it's important, it's a big number, it's a huge number. Everyone else is really looking at it hard, and you tried and succeeded last year to a certain degree, but we have a lot more at stake with it. Please.
Okay, well, certainly happy to start on that. The one thing I wanted to know, if you wanted to implement this Medicare Advantage, we could do that now, if you agree, and, you know, maybe you want to talk to Phil about it in a little more detail, because things aren't going to be quite the way they are, but generally speaking, this Medicare Advantage, we've implemented this in another number of other towns, and it basically takes Part A and Part B and puts it all together, and what the borough now provides, that's a supplemental policy in effect, and ties it all into one policy with Aetna. So they don't have to get bounced between Medicare and the thing, you know, the supplemental policy. It's all integrated under one. People really like it better for the most part. The response we've got has been very positive. And, you know, you can do it, you could save $60,000 by doing it and giving them a $0 copay on the medical, little higher prescription, but I think it's gonna work better. We can try to refine the prescription a little bit more.
Do they have to sign off on it individually, or
They have to enroll, but it has to be done as a group. It's not something, you know, the town has to do it, and that's gonna be the new offering, and they have to sign up for it. But, again, most people, when they understand it, are very, very happy with it.
retirees?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, honestly, a change is one of the biggest problems retirees
Yeah,
have.
but the question to you guys is, do you wanna go with the zero copay, which would give them better than what they have? They have nothing to complain about that, but if you go with the one that saves $100,000, that would be more like the state health benefits plan, out-of-pocket maximums of up to, $2,000 or something like that, so, which we've kind of laid out in that spreadsheet, so that's one thing that you should think about which way you want to go.
Can we run this by Phil before, and maybe perhaps if when we do put this committee together, we can tackle that as well at the same
Okay.
time? Is that right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Craig, are we talking about, you could actually just impose this on the retirees as a, is that what we're hearing?
When we inquired last year, that seemed to be the answer we got from council on it.
They'd be real careful.
Yeah, well, again, if you go to zero copay, then you're giving them equal to or better than. The other was more of a stretch. But, you know, again, I was trying to compare it to, if you went to the state health benefits plan, let's try to compare apples with apples.
Right.
And what would their payment be per year?
The state?
The state.
Yeah.
Well, if you implemented the Medicare Advantage, the savings by moving to the state health benefits plan and duplicating, their plans would only be about $40,000. And Greg and I figured that in light of everything going on with the state, maybe that wouldn't be the best move over the long run.
Okay, but I understand that, but you just mentioned up to $2,000 a year. What number was that from?
2,000?
That's,
That was the 100,000, if we were gonna save the town, 100,000, there'd be a different.
It's the column 2. Right, state health, direct access.
Well, the state on this sheet here, option A is going to the Medicare Advantage 100% plan. That's better than what they have now, so the savings would be 80. You could save 82,000 still by going to the state health benefits plan. You'd be saving 60,000 by moving.
And
Option B.
giving them a better plan.
Yeah, giving them a better plan. Option B, the town would save $100,000 off what they're currently paying, but compared to the state, the state would be $40,000 lower, roughly, $41,000. All right, so,
So we'll put that on for next meeting, or how do we do that?
Well, what we need to do is we'll forward the information to Phil Bozier for review. Once he signs off and says it's something that we can propose and do, we can do a resolution and then notify those affected individuals. And
Does it make sense to maybe get 10 or 12 from a cross-section of retirees in town and bring them in and get them to sign off on it with a letter maybe that's attached to, here's what we're doing, but these guys looked at it, it's a good deal?
yeah, we could do some type of outreach. It is kind of difficult because they are spread across the country.
yeah, we have a process that we go to. We have a pre-approach letter from the town explaining to them what's happening. We would hold a meeting here. We can put it on a website as to what it is, and it goes over pretty good. Again, I don't think Phil would have any problem with going to the one that's gonna give you better coverage. It's the one that would duplicate the state or be closer to the state that,
Yeah, I don't think we want to do that.
Okay, well,
I mean, that might.
and that's been the whole reason why we really haven't pursued the state in the past because we can't, they don't have the plans that the town has now. So that's a big issue when that's come up in the past before.
Which is something we're gonna have to explain again to DPW and police, because, well, I don't know how police works, but certainly DPW, because I just heard it recently, a couple weeks ago. You know, why aren't you guys looking at the state plan? You've heard that too, right?
Yes.
So,
We've always looked at it,
okay.
so,
And I think we've given them that explanation as well. I know I met with them on my own, and the uncertainty of the premium hike was the biggest concern.
well, that and not being able to duplicate the coverage for the retirees was always a big issue. So whatever, yeah, I mean, it might be good to have a little committee or whatever you think, Mayor, to explore these options. We can certainly meet and talk about them more.
My intention is to have multiple committees, one for the insurance, and Lou's been big on it. You know, we can discuss it over the next couple of days, but also possibly looking at some overtime issues that we have, so.
Mhm.
There's probably more than one committee we're looking to do in the next
Yeah, okay.
weeks. And just being able to provide them with some of the answers that maybe we didn't make clear to them previously.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dave? or-
No?
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Do we, are you hanging around for a closed session, or we're pretty good? right
No,
now?
we're good.
No, I think we're good. Dave doesn't have to stay around for that one.
All right, Dave, thanks for your
Okay,
help.
you're welcome, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Unless that's a different program. Are all retired paid fire guys part of this program? Are retired by definition? Yeah.
Yes, so, yeah.
How many do we have? Ballpark figure, right?
Dave, do you have the census
roughly.
for that?
What,
Dave has it.
how many are retirees?
Yes.
A couple hundred?
No, wait.
I don't think, I know, it's-
65, 70, like that? I think.
And their spouses.
well, there's more retirees than there are over 65, right? Off the top of my head, let's see, I think it's like,
It's not that important.
I have to look, I think there's a.
You have the number, it's just somewhere.
I think it's a good 50 or so retirees.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a total.
thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Chris.
You don't have to drive this now.
Turned out good, huh? That's the bullet this
Just
time.
happy, not to shovel this morning.
Okay, have a good night.
Good night.
Next, under conference, we have Mike Misery to discuss our Shady Side Park.
You'd like to start with the survey?
The council in your package has a handwritten survey. I didn't have time to have anyone put it in a spreadsheet, but Mike did a very commendable job here. If you recall, we spoke about several weeks ago about the possibility of making some changes to the existing parking lot and parking ordinance in Shadyside. We consulted with Mike Misery, being party to the agreement which created the parking lot in Shadyside. And as a property owner and being familiar with all of the residents and businesses in that area. So when we want something done in Shadyside, we typically call Michael, and and he's our facilitator, so.
The settlement agreement and the two lots that were built, we're going back almost 20 years ago, because the settlement agreement was signed in 1995, and the lots were built in the next 2 years, so if you have questions, I mean, Phil Borgia knows it in and out, because at the time, he was the attorney for the planning board. Otherwise, and Mary knows it, because at the time, she was a councilwoman. So, I'll start with the survey. The method was that I interviewed every business. I went down the street and spoke with every business. And then the only business I didn't speak with was Rebecca at the bottom. See, on the left side you have businesses going from north to south, and on the right side the residents. The summary of the businesses came to about 83 to 88 cars, which was a surprise. After I finished and summarized the survey, I asked people in the area in Shady Side, what is the demand of businesses? No one said over 50.
So sorry, 83, 88 cars, spots that they need for their business?
Yeah? No, that's employees only.
Employees.
Oh, okay.
We're not talking customers. We're talking, the biggest one is our Children Academy. And they have 32 cars. I mean, I sat with the director and I asked her how many, they have a pool of 40 employees with 35 always there. And when I asked her how many cars, she opened the list and she counted and she told me 29. It's not a number that came out of the air. It surprised me. This building, by the way, 280 River Road, has an approval has a planning board approval and zoning board approval for 50 cars. So they're occupying 30. And the rest, it just add up to 83 to 88. I also wrote here the days of operation. The big difference over the weekend is that the Children Academy with the biggest demand is closed. On the other hand, that's when the customers come. So despite the fact that on Saturday the academy is closed, the pressure is even higher because that's what people... on the right side you have the residents. The number is low because I excluded 2 properties that have on-site parking demand. One of them is 276, 272, where Manja is. They have 8 on-site in the back. And then the building at 256, 250, I put it only at 3, despite the fact that they have 15 cars, because 12 are on site. So that's the building that has this parking deck on Gold Road. So to summarize, we are looking at a high demand. I did not include non-resident property owners, which maybe are around 5, 6. Like myself, I live in Fort Lee. I didn't include. There are 5, 6 property owners that don't live. And besides this, I counted 30 curbside spaces, which are not included in those municipal parking lots. This is City Street. There are 10 of them north of Thompson Lane, 5 and 5, and those are 20 along. And because of the high demand, it should be considered as well. Now, this whole initiative is coming because of huge pressure on parking in Shady Side that everybody is aware of. I spoke on the way in with Councilman Duran, who mentioned that he brings his daughter to the Dance Academy near Rebecca, and over there things are heavy. When parents drop and pick up, and there is another teeter-totter down there, and so basically, just the people who live and work in Shady Side, the demand is about 110 cars. what we have in the municipal parking lots is so this is a Google image that was taken about 3 or 4 years ago. How do I know it's 3 or 4 years ago? Because Aventine is already standing, the building, and the Mitrakis has not started yet with his construction. So this put it at around 3 or 4 years ago. This is the north parking lot, inside and outside. North parking lot, and this, here you come in Thompson Lane, to the left is the south parking lot, with 40 spaces. What you don't see here is the other part of it, because one Hudson, you see the entrance to one Hudson, but then the remainder of the spaces are along the west wall of Hudson Park. Very briefly,
Mike, would you say the north parking lot, how many spots in the north? You said 40 in the south?
100,
100 in the north?
about 100.
Thanks.
This includes the inner lot and the off Old River Road. About 100. It started with 113, then we lost a few in front of the pump house. There is no parking zone that now everybody is parking in. If we have a problem with the pump, they won't be able to get in because there are 3 cars parked there in front. And we added a few handicap. The south parking lot is something that I have it only a few copies. Please look at it as if you were standing on Old River Road. And turn it on. By the way, this is Exhibit C of the settlement agreement. The south parking lot was intended to be a continuous 40 spaces. What happened was that, yeah,
This is Thompson Lane?
Thompson Lane, and those are the 40 spaces. Turn it on.
So the north lot's up that way.
Is it north? Yeah. So it was supposed to be continuous. They built 33 spaces, and then came Hudson Park with their application, and they needed to put the driveway into the building and to the up and to the deck, right into the parking lot. We agreed. We agreed to this, and into the resolution, into the Hudson Park resolution, it was written that that number one, they have to build, at the time we had 33, they had to eliminate 4 to create the entrance. Let me show you the entrance. So this entrance cut the continuity of the 40 spaces. At the time, and the resolution says that we had 33 spaces. They had to eliminate 4 for this, and then give us back the 4 plus the 7 that were missing. This land here was given to the town.
Should that have been continuous?
Huh?
Should that, where you just had that car there, it should have came across the parking lot with more spaces along there?
I don't understand the question.
He's talking about the entrance. We
Where
lost
you
it
said
with the
this was
entrance.
blocked here, should this parking, you're saying, should have run further?
Oh, yes, straight to here, yeah.
That's what you're saying, so you lost all these
We
spots here.
lost all these spots, and they were moved south.
They were moved south, huh?
South. So that's how, so this is where they built it. Along the west
side.
wall of Hudson.
Right.
And we lost it. We just lost it.
So in other words, Mike, you're saying they never replaced it?
Oh, they did, they
Yeah.
built it.
Right.
Oh, they built them, and those are the spots that you see along the west.
Okay.
This is the west wall of Hudson Park.
So what you lost in the driveway, they gave you on the side?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
We lost 1 space. There was supposed to be 40, there are only 39. 28 to the entrance, and then 11 here. And you see the 11 spaces over there. Back in 2008, just to give you an example of what happened, back in 2008, the town put those signs, 2-hour parking with an ordinance number, with town ordinance, I don't remember so many of them. And they put them on the 28th, and they put them here, along Hudson Park. Yeah. There is not one notice left here. So the police walks around ticketing people on the 28th for all kind of reasons. And Hudson Park eliminated all the signs of the police. It looks like part of Hudson Park.
Right.
And one Hudson Park must have known you were coming tonight. They called me today,
And,
and they found all the signs miraculously.
are you kidding me?
I swear. I swear.
Are you kidding me?
They called me, the property manager called.
And he told you that.
He has all the signs, they have all the signs in the
They took
utility
them off.
building. Of course.
But maybe they knew I was coming. Anyhow, this is not, what Hudson Park did on this wall is not parking, it's warehousing.
Right.
I took those pictures December 10 and December 27. Those cars are still there. I just checked it out. You see this car, the Jag, it's called Honey 4. That's the plate. And behind these 2 cars, there is a mound of ice, you know, they didn't move. I mean, this is absolutely warehousing. And they are not entitled, and their resolution said it specifically, that this is the south parking lot, subject to the settlement agreement, and it incorporates the settlement agreement into their resolution, into their approved resolution. And the same language then was put into the developer agreement. I have all the documents. I just want to move forward. So we are, by the way, while I was doing the survey, business owners in Shadyside complained to me that Hudson Park is parking right across from them, which means they are also parking in those 28 spaces we had here. And they leave the car and they go. Besides this, we have commuters. They park the car, go to the bus, and it became a real misery. Based on this, what I think that the only way to solve this problem is to meter everything.
To what?
Meter. time limitation on parking of 2 or 3 hours in the south parking lot, and 3 and 4 hours in the north parking lot, and give the people who are entitled to park there special shady side, not Edgewater resident, because by other ordinances, somebody with an Edgewater resident can come and park here as much as he wants, because it looks like a city, like a town street. So I think there should be shady side. Beyond this, I think that all employees, I'm talking only about employees, which are the majority, all employees that come to work for 6, 8, 9 hours should have to park in the north parking lot.
The north parking lot.
In the north parking lot, where and keep the south parking lot, where the curbside parking for residents, because residents come and go, and for customers, and for the parents who drop off kids, etc. So the way I see it, meters and special shady side, not Edgewater, but shady side. And then enforcement.
Enforcement.
Yeah. By the way, we have left some account with 10, I don't know, Greg, how much money we have in this account?
About, I think it was about 30,000.
No. Just way down.
No? That's why you were arguing with me the other day when we talked about it, yeah?
You see, it's $30,000. There was an escrow account that was left from them, and it's still in the bank, and Phil Boja and me have to sign together to release the money. So since we didn't sign for many, many years, the money is there. I think it's a little bit over 10,000. If it's 30,000, I'll be very happy.
Do we know where the residents live that own the Jaguar and the other cars that you said have been there for a long time?
I think they're in Hudson Park.
Sure they
I mean, there was an initiative. They moved all the signs, so the police didn't ticket them. It looks like it's Hudson Park. The police was ticketing other people. I have letters, complaints. By the way, I have a complaint, I have an email from a woman that owns the townhouse immediately north of Rebecca. She has this children's school on the bottom, Tito Totter, and the townhouse itself is vacant. The email says, I cannot, she lives in Fairview, I cannot rent it due to the parking problem.
Mike, don't you think that maybe even Aventine parks a lot of cars on the street?
Say it again.
Don't you think that maybe even Aventine parks a lot of cars on the street?
Who?
Aventine. Building Aventine.
building.
No,
Because they have enough parking up in the garage?
they have, Aventine, the building has full parking inside the building.
Plus they have to pay for it.
It's the front, it's 280 River Road where the academy is, that has the parking rights. The building, the high-rise building, all parking is inside the building.
Do they have to pay for that?
I don't know.
So are we sure that the residents of Aventine are using their parking, or are they coming out onto Boulder Road?
And then you have a new one that just, is gonna open up
I don't
soon,
know.
that's gonna be the same thing, because they're gonna only be one or two spots.
Mike, when we met with Phil Boja that day, we checked there's an ordinance that prohibits the charging of spaces that we have to check into.
Where, within the buildings, within the private property?
This I really don't know.
We pay for parking that's in Harbor, we
Apparently
get
it
it working.
stemmed from the Independence Harbor issue several years ago.
Really?
Yeah. It's on the books.
I don't know, what's happening with Hudson Park is very clear. They don't want to pay for the parking.
Right.
Hudson Park is all the parking they need. The resolution said that they satisfy all the needs, enough parking for residents and visitors.
Greg, do we make any progress on the trailer?
On,
I spoke to Mr. Demetrakis today. he promises within 2 weeks.
The trailer,
Ridiculous.
I don't think so.
No. Well, I
I'll
think,
tell you
I
why.
think it's done, it should be going.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Before the Mitraki started construction, Greg Franks called me and told me, you know, the Mitrakis called me, he's asking for permission, for a lack of a better word, permission to park a construction trailer on the north parking lot. And he was talking about the north area, right near his site, right? He's not going to park it where is more crucial to us. Parking it in the north area. I see immediately, absolutely, because Mr. Dimitrakis, he is the most instrumental person, apart from me, in getting the settlement agreement and in building these lots. So if he wants to park a container that takes 6 spaces,
Well, we were just, we.
this
we
is
talked-
my,
We talked about it because his job's done, you have the big snow pile in the lot, so we want to try to
we're
free
going
some
to
spots.
talk about the snow.
Right.
This is,
Okay.
and I will show you a sketch that I prepared. The problem is not the construction trailer, which takes 6 parking spaces. The problem is the snow pile. What I think should be done now, I think this thing, I think that whatever the results of this survey and all the details that I collected should be given to a professional. I guess it's maybe the town engineer, and design, you know, a scheme for metering, and take it from there and do it as soon as possible. Because the problem is only getting harder and harder.
Well, Mike, we were gonna have a special, we discussed that with Phil previously. We proposed a special shady side sticker for the employees and a shady side sticker for the residents.
Shady side, let's look at the shady side sticker for people who are allowed to park only in the north parking lot. And
Which would be the
The
employees.
employees, that's
yeah,
employees.
yeah, basically. And another sticker for residents who can park anyplace.
Right, you have 2 different colors. The red one is for
Yeah,
the employee,
something, but
and
it
the
has
blue
to
one
be-
is the.
It has to be shady side. The police,
Right.
believe me, with all those ordinances, and there are all kind of conflicting ordinances.
We don't get that.
I think the police is confused. They're giving tickets, people are screaming, they're going to the judge. I have letters from people who were fined, and I think the police is at this point confused for a good reason. It has to be straightened out from the top.
It does.
And Phil was talking about writing a new ordinance that will make everything clear, that's the situation. So it's the metering that has to be designed by a professional, and the stickers.
And the enforcement's gonna be the biggest piece, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But this will make the enforcement, oh yeah, it's very important, but it will be easy to enforce with the stickers. It will be easy to enforce. And that's what I recommend, give it to a professional. I'll give him everything I collected, which will make it easier to start. And plan it. And I think that the 30 curbside spaces I identified should be definitely included. Otherwise, you know, a commuter parks there and goes to New York. I mean, I heard many stories about Tommy from DPW just told you he saw a woman park on Friday, walks across to the bus. Yeah. So,
Now, we got a petition today
yeah.
from most of the business owners, some residents, in regard to the snow pile.
Maybe you want to, I didn't sign this, I didn't sign this.
Mike was trying to weather this for us, and we were trying to assist Veterans Field is typically the location that DPW uses for snow removal. And due to the situation there, Tom had started using Shady Side a couple years ago. When they had utilized it the first time, I don't know who was the first person to dump and organize it, but they worked their way south from the far north curb, and essentially took up less room.
I'll give each one one.
The manner in which it was dumped this time seemed to take up a lot of excess room, causing some discontent with the businesses who weren't able to park in the lot. Tom, at my request, went on, it was either Thursday or Friday of last week. They opened up about, I think it's, what did I say, 8 spots, Mike?
What's that?
Tom attempted to open up about 8 spots last week when we spoke.
No, he opened only four spots at count. I'm going to go over it, right?
Okay, that's fine, but again, when I was told from the DPW, there were 4 spots, that opened up on one side of the pile, and then there were some openings on the other side of the pile. However, and I agree with Mike, those spots are obstructed, so you really don't know they're available if you're looking for a space, trying to run in. Easy, Mike, don't get too excited. You know, if you're running in for a slice of pizza, you're gonna park several hundred feet away, so that was an issue. So,
Greg, can we write a letter to the cinemas? They got a whole back parking lot wide open, never used.
I'm sorry?
The cinemas, back by the multiplex, that whole parking lot is just wide open in the back, never used. Maybe we can get them to give us, permission on bad snow months.
We can work on that. We can work on that.
The bottom line is we have to eliminate from that parking lot. I don't think there's really a lot that we need to go through on this. It's just, it can't really be put there anymore, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yep. So,
Trying to respond.
the petition is asking for the continued removal of the snow. So, Mike, I know you have some input on it.
That's not gonna be
Yeah,
practical.
this is Exhibit B. Again, this is the original settlement agreement, north parking lot, which is the big parking lot. Please turn it around also as if you were standing on Old River Road. So, here is what happened. I didn't see it, but according to a person who saw it, a resident of Shadyside, DPW came a few days before the big storm and put the truck and blocked. And you can see DPW truck. You see it?
Yeah, I saw it actually down there.
Huh?
Yeah.
On the map.
He was getting ready to put snow there, Mike.
Huh?
He was getting ready to put snow there.
And in front of it, they built the pile north of it and dumped some more in front of it. So you see 4 lots which are Xed out. So all we were left with, and I took picture on the 22nd, which is previous weekend. All we were left with was 14 cars going one way and 17 which are the other way. Let me show you.
Isn't it safe to say, guys, that we could just, just move forward on this? This is a problem. They can't put snow there anymore. I mean, that's what we're looking to do, right? Yeah, I mean, that's
Let
the
me
bottom.
finish the story.
Sure.
And you'll see
I'm sorry.
that there are options. This is the DPW truck where it's standing, blocking the driveway with additional snow in front of it. So that we lost additional 4 spaces because they dumped also in front of the truck. what they did was, this is the north entrance. They blocked it off, yeah? I took these two pictures from the same spot. Everybody sees? This is the north end of the pile. Then I turn around, and this is the distance to the property line. Look how much is left. Clear, black top. I mean, people are screaming for spaces on the other hand, and here you have all this. Then,
So what you're saying is that they could have used the space better and probably could have freed up.
yes. Further, on Friday, February 28th, I put here inner lot as of February 28th. They cleaned the 4 spaces in front of the truck. So we got 4 more spaces in front of the truck. And then they went to the back, took all the snow that was here and pushed it in.
To the south.
They pushed it south into the big pile. So they went from, this was the 22nd, this is the 28th. Here I paced the distance to the property line just to see how much is available. It was 75 feet. When they did this, all of a sudden we had 100 feet because they compacted it. So we have here, between the pile and the northerly property line, near extra space, 100 feet. Then I went to Old River Road, to the end of the pile, and I paced the length of the pile. The length of the pile is 110, maybe 100, maybe 110 feet, which means this thing is sticking there like a bone in the throat, choking the area with all this space in the back. I don't know why they put the truck here. This was totally, I don't have explanation. Last year, Veteran Field was closed, right? There was no problem. Number one, okay, we didn't have so much snow. But according to Greg, they dumped. And they dumped all the way in the north. This year, they just took away most of the lot.
Can't happen.
And it's still there. And people are screaming. Look, I will be the last person to come and tell the town in this unpleasant, I don't know how to call it, this misery with the ball field, with Veteran Field. It's a miserable situation. I wouldn't tell the town, you cannot dump. The question is where and how. I just showed you that this whole huge pile which is there could have been on the most northerly 100 feet, would have created some distress, but not what this did to I mean, everybody is screaming. I mean, I have the guy from Manja, very popular place, tell me, I cannot pay the rent. People stopped coming. My customers are telling me, we cannot find parking, we're going elsewhere. So, now, there are 2 issues here. One is short-term, one is long-term. Short-term is you have to do something for us. You have to move more ice, more snow. By the way, the settlement agreement has, the town has certain responsibilities of maintenance. The settlement agreement and the ordinance says, among other things, striping, cleaning, whatever, remove snow and ice. And here we have importation of snow and ice. And this is a clear violation of the whole agreement. Again, I'm not saying don't. I'm saying, now, I think it looks like I read your letter in the residential very carefully, and it ends up with as soon as possible. Litigation and as soon as possible. So there is a possibility here that Veteran Field will be closed also next year. We don't want it, but it could happen, right? I think we should work out now. I mean,
Mike,
no,
I think it's safe to say he has to find a different spot for the snow.
huh?
It's safe to say, I think he has to find a different spot for the snow.
Or utilize the
No,
space more
no,
properly.
I'm willing to change the settlement agreement,
To just use the space more properly,
to use the space more properly, yeah.
Just don't
Let's
jam it
say
up
that
in the
the
front,
town-
you know, he's not saying can't use it.
I
just use
am,
it
I
better.
am saying, I am willing, you know, the settlement agreement has to be changed by everybody's signature. I mean, the developer, Metropolitan Edgewater, doesn't exist anymore, but so it's the town, the planning board, the governing body, and me. I am willing to change the settlement agreement to allow for snow importation that will be, the area will be defined. I mean, we will take the area as big as what they took now.
As long as it's got the
Only
road
way
there.
we to put it all the way to the north. And this will have to be, you know, a legal, you see, I know, the petition says move it. I'm not saying it, I'm saying we can accommodate it. But I would like to, because of the risks that Veteran Field will remain closed for more than 1 year, to do it now. So that next year, if the needs arise, you know what happened? I also noticed that all the burden came on us. Because they dumped a little bit on the playground north of the old municipal building, but the parking lot across the street, nothing. And I believe me, because of this, I've been checking this lot up the street again and again. There is parking there, and they could have dumped part of it all the way east, and then the cars and the buses would have to park a little bit closer to one another. Right now, you see 2 spaces in between, 3 spaces in between. They could have tightened it up. Never mind, I'm saying I am willing to change the settlement agreement to allow for 100 feet, which is the length of the iceberg we have now, in an unusual year.